right, hello again. Just wanted to, for the second time today, I want to go over a few more verses, 6 verses from Matthew 24, 23 to 28, before we get into probably the most confusing scripture of all to Christians about immediately after the tribulation. They always say that whether it's the pre-tribulation people or post-tribulation, they fall into the same trap, and they think this is really talking about the end times instead of 70 AD. And I've heard some people say that it's a dual prophecy. That, to me, there's no evidence of that. He's talking about the tribulation of those days. Remember where we left off at that time in verse 22. Let me go to it for a second. Jesus says, and if those days had not been cut short, those days, and he's still talking about that generation, they will witness that. Will actually refer to also Matthew 16:28. If you want to write that down, we'll probably read that as well. But here, he's saying, let me just read, and then if anyone says to you, look, there is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false prophets and false Christs and false prophets will rise and perform great signs and wonders. And we gave examples of Simon and Deucetheus doing that, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you. He's talking to the 4 disciples. The inner circle is what people call them beforehand. So if they say to you, look, he is in the wilderness, or do not go out. If they say, look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. There he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. And if you read 16:28 on your own, there's another verse that the preterists also fall, the full preterists fall for the fact that he actually came in 70 AD. You see, and futurists and dispensationalists actually mock the preterists, and I don't blame them, but they fall in the same trap, because once they see these kind of terminology or language, they think it's a second coming. But we know that in 16, let me just go there, in 16:28, I should have had this ready, but I'll do it quick here. 16:28, truly I say to you that there is some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Now, what do the futurists or dispensationalists say about this verse? Because that's a trap for the full preterist, you see. But he's talking about the term Son of Man coming doesn't always mean the second coming. As a matter of fact, it means a form of judgment coming. God's judgment coming on a certain kingdom. Okay, so for you futurists and dispensationalists, I love you, but you mock the full preterists when they say that this verse says that he came in 70 AD. You fall in the same trap. Okay, in Revelation 2:4, where it says, I will come and remove your lampstand. That he's warning the 5 churches, right? Did he really come? You know that he didn't. So you have to learn how the Bible speaks. Well, I've read the verses, so I know I don't need to go back there, but I wanted to read where it says the lightning come from the east to the west, which made me think, the lightning is kind of vertical, right? It comes from up to down, but it comes from the east to the west. When I looked it up in the Blue Letter Bible, as you should, the word it's in verse 27, by the way, 24:27, is astrape in Greek, ASTRAPE, and what it means bright shining. So what he's saying, for as sure as the sun shines from the east and goes to the west, so will the Son of Man be coming. And of course, that means God's judgment is coming on Israel. Okay? And then, actually, let me just go back because I can't remember verse. Oops, I totally lost that. But it talks about as the carcass or the bodies, so will the eagle. And let me just refer you to, I read those verses for you. In Job 39:27 to 30. Let me read that. Maybe we can go to the Mathew verse again. Job 39:27 to 30. Does the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon a crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she. By the way, the Roman flag was also the eagle. So that there could be something on those lines, you know. It's talking about the Roman army and the carcasses. But let me go to Matthew, and we'll end this. This is a quick session before we get into the 29, Matthew 24, 29, 30, and 31. Here I am, okay. So Matthew 24. My e-sword is slow. I'm kind of far from the main source. Like I said, for as the lightning comes from the east, and it shines as far as the west. And that word means astrape, as the bright light, bright shining comes from, he's really talking about the sun shines from the east. And then wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. And if you, all you have to do is read Josephus, and you'll see the massacre that the Roman Empire, the Roman army did. And even before they went into Jerusalem, Josephus explains that when they opened the gate, it was horrific. You know, they've been demonized. They've been cannibalism. They ate each other. They burnt each other barns. It was horrific scene. You know, before the Roman army even went in. So that's it. It was a fast study, and the next scripture will be most enlightening of probably the whole chapter, and I hope I can help you actually finally put that teaching that is about the end time to bed, or maybe not. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.